This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
You are listening to Lucha Afterground.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lucha Afterground, the premier Lucha Underground after show. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is Max.
And my name is Travis.
All right. Lots to talk about this week, but we'd like to start things off with a little bit of news and notes from outside the temple. Trav, what do you got?
I got some nuggets from this week's Observer. This is obviously word for word from Mr. Meltzer. There's nothing new on the proposed house shows in October for Lucha Underground. Talent was contacted about dates for 3 shows in October, but from what we're told, nobody has heard anything since a lot of the talent, because of hearing nothing, started taking bookings for those dates. At this point, nobody has been told anything about when the 4th season filming will begin. But it does sound like that 4th season
is happening.
Is a go, which is exciting.
I was wondering how many episodes a television program has to have in order to be able to go into syndication. Because at some point, shows like... they're new, they're coming out every season, and then suddenly they're on at 4 p.m. on every channel, right? So what does it take to get to that level?
I believe it's 5 seasons.
5 seasons?
I'm pretty sure. Once, that's the thing, a lot of, actors, if they're on a sitcom or a show, once you hit that 5th season, you're like, yes. Because syndication pay is forever.
Right. So I wonder if that's where they're going towards here.
That'd be pretty great, especially just for the workers, man, if they can just keep getting it. Because that's such a rarity. I guess with the WWE network footage, there's still ongoing lawsuits and stuff with some of the talent of people who they're putting up there. How are they not getting residuals or
Buff
some
Bagwell.
kind of buyout? Yeah, he's the one who's been really, but that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Because this is you're putting stuff on with me in it, and you're using me to sell this. It doesn't have to be it could be a nickel, every time it plays or something. Who knows? But I don't know. That, I think there's a valid discussion to be had there.
Totally.
Anyways, he also touches on briefly the, again, this is Meltzer, the Santos and Cage Instagram bit, where I don't know if you saw, but she tweeted sometime earlier in the week that earlier I made a comment on Instagram that was purely based on emotion. I apologize, yada, yada, yada. So she's kind of realized that she's kind of got to
reel it in a little bit.
Button it up.
Oh my God, bro, he could have killed her.
I have something. It's not directly Lucha Underground related, but tied to that Lucha Illimitado promotion in Yakima, Washington, and that show that I'm going to on October 12th, that Alberto Del Rio has pulled out.
Son of a bitch.
But has been replaced by Jeff Hardy. So
yeah, but it's not it's supposed to be a Lucha Libre supercard.
I know. It's a shame. The idea is, it sounds like the belief is that, again, this is Meltzer, the belief is that he will be doing media interviews on that day to promote the October 14th Combat Americas show, since that promotion is looking at making Alberto the public face of the company.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
You have a commitment, Alberto.
Yeah. But here's something also interesting about that show. So this is the debut of Lucha Illimitado.
Yeah.
And there's that Cobb, Phoenix, and 2 other guys match is for their belt.
Wow.
So that could be really cool. But it's been getting local publicity because Rey Mysterio has invited Donald Trump to the show.
God.
TNA did the same thing a few months ago and got 0 publicity for it. They're pushing to Trump that he should come as a goodwill gesture to the Mexican Americans. A member of his campaign stated that the offer was being considered.
That's right. Could you imagine? It would just be mental.
Yeah, my wife is so happy that we're going now. She's just
God.
can you imagine what it would be like if he just
Donald Trump just walked in?
Yakima, Washington.
Why not? Why not? He needs to do something.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Cool. The one thing I want to mention is from the beginning of season 3, there's been steadily declining viewers.
Yep.
About 30,000 less each episode.
That much?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So why?
Good question. I think God, and the median age is still like 56 or 58. It seems to go up. So that tells me that clearly more people are watching it than it does, the numbers have it.
Totally.
Because that means, like, if that's the average, it's got to be like 80-year-olds watching it too, right?
I know. It's just like on in their house probably.
And I think maybe they're just finding a better way to watch it, because how many households get the El Rey network?
Great question.
Yeah, I don't think that many.
Great question. Plus, that they are like available to watch on iTunes now, so I'm sure that's taking some stuff off. And plus, illegal.
I have no.
I don't know. I don't know how to do it either, but somebody, I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. It's still early. I guess, like, if that's 40 seasons to go through, I guess somebody can probably think, or 40 episodes to go through.
Yeah.
Someone could think, I can take a couple off. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Because we know we know that they have a very devoted fan base, Lucha Underground, of people who just like adore it and think it's
for sure. Us included.
Yeah.
Us included.
Yeah. So there is a following out there, and it's not a bunch of 56-year-olds.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, let's jump into season 3, episode 4, Brothers in Broken Bones. Brothers in Broken Arms.
That's what I thought.
There you go.
Starts with a recap. Dragon Azteca Jr., Rey Mysterio, and Chavo building up to that match. We see Dario Cueto, Taya, and Johnny Mundo. Bit of the cops, and then sets up a bit more of Puma and Mil Muertes. And that leads us into the first vignette, which is in the locker room with Sexy Star and Dario Cueto. Dario Cueto says something to her about being afraid, and she said, "I will never be afraid again."
Pretty good.
What'd you think of that line, Reed?
Yeah, that was good, actually. Yeah.
I think it suits her character, that she's just like this kind of pure, fighting for goodness, and kind of taking on that. The anti-patriarchy, having to get over everything. Like, I will never be afraid again. Nice try, man.
Yeah, agreed. I did notice that Dario reestablished Sexy Star and friendship with the Mac.
Yeah.
Right off the top, too.
Yeah.
He's like, your friend the Mac didn't do it too well. Or it's not feeling well. So that's nice that they linked them back together, because they could have easily just been like, all right, forget about that and move on in different directions. But they're maintaining that.
They did a nice job of making her, like, it showed how much she valued the Gift of the Gods belt.
Yeah,
she's
totally.
It, just kind of staring at it.
It is. I had forgotten she even had that belt. I had forgotten that belt was even in play.
Yeah.
So at some point, I guess, I'm assuming that Matanza is not going to lose in a random match while
Dario's style of doom.
I don't think
from
so
that. So that would mean that unless Johnny Mundo, I guess, because Johnny Mundo comes in halfway through this vignette, and so he's coming for that title. But between the two of them, one of them is likely to face Matanza for the championship.
Sounds about right. I like that Dario kind of made fun of the way she said "afraid." I'm afraid I have to go.
Yeah.
Then Johnny Mundo comes entering, looking for Taya in a rush for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
That was interesting.
It just seemed weird to me. It seemed like, we need a reason for Johnny Mundo to come into the scene. But so it did. Like, was your interpretation of that, like, it was coincidental? Like, they just did happen to run into each other? Or did you think it was, like, his character was, I don't know, somehow...
It plays a little bit to the gutlessness of his character, that he's coming in running, looking for her in a bit of a panic.
Totally.
This guy's supposed to be Mr. Joe Cool. And then he kind of pulls it back together after he can't find her. He's like, there's somebody else in here.
Yeah. It's a good thought.
Yeah, introduces himself as the next Gift of the Gods champ to her. That was good. And she leaves and she kicks the locker.
Yeah. They also had like that sort of test of strength between each other.
Yeah.
And she won.
Yeah.
So that was a great moment too.
Yeah, Sexy Star has great energy. That's the best thing about her, is her just babyface energy. I think sometimes it gets the best of her. Like when she came in to make the save last episode and missed on the first drop kick.
But that's okay. You know what? If it's a real fight, you're throwing drop kicks, you're probably gonna miss.
Still, if you're cleaning house, that was Johnny Mundo had to find a
way to get out of there,
reason to leave at that point.
Yeah. All right, so
moves us inside to the temple. Who do we see?
The Chimps.
The fucking Chimps. I'm going to say it right now. Worst band in the history of Lucha Underground.
No, that can't be true.
I can't stand them, man. Like this is.
I thought this was their best performance.
It's like late '90s crap.
Well, I know
who's asking for this kind of music.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen some great bands there, man. Some stuff that really gets you bopping and makes you feel like, man, this would be such a fun place to be. But man, if that was the band when I got there and they're just blaring that, we're supposed to be this kind of like, aggressive rap metal kind of thing. It's not my scene. Not my scene.
I know. I agree. I can take it in its small snippets at the beginning of all these episodes. That's fine. And actually, I thought this was the best Chimp song so far.
Well, best Chimp song is like, best.
I'm a fan.
Okay.
You're
a Chimps fan.
I'm a big Chimps fan.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm fucking around.
With a Z. Good.
Chimps with a Z.
Okay.
So that leads us to
our confusing episode of Man in the Wedge. I gotta get that wedge. Because who's there again but the kid from Up, all grown up?
What? Yeah.
What's going on?
What do you make of that?
I'm thinking they recorded this intro
out of sequence
in the earlier things or something. Who knows? Man in the Wedge is an enigma. Just when we think we've wrapped our heads around it, it throws us another curveball.
Yeah.
But I don't know who we're going to see next week. No idea.
That's true.
Could go back to Headless Andrew WK, or maybe Andrew WK sits down and it becomes Andrew WK.
Just Andrew WK.
But we'll see. Help us out here, guys. We don't know. I noticed a really good shitty pun from Matt Stryker.
Primates?
Oh, yes. He said we're mates.
Yeah. See, and I marked that down as well as being like, this is good Stryker.
Yeah.
These are the moments when you can do that type of thing.
Yeah.
This is your moment.
Yeah.
You have one moment every episode, maybe
I'm
two.
Say, we've pissed on Stryker when he deserves to be pissed on.
Boutros, golly!
Exhibit A. But he was super solid this episode. I never felt distracted from the matches or that he tried to shoehorn in
totally
shit he's saying.
Totally.
And that's good. So this leads us to our first match: Sinestro del Muerte versus Prince Puma.
Forgot Sinestro even was a character until we saw this, and I was like, oh yeah.
Well, he is Argenis.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, the same guy.
Sinestro is the same as Argenis? I thought Argenis was one of the other guys.
I don't think so. You thought he was Barry Del Negro or whatever?
Yeah, Barry Del Negro.
Baracco El Negro Obama. No, this is him. Right away, I noticed Prince Puma came in wearing the headgear still.
I know.
And I had heard that they were going to tune it down, or that was the rumors from the episode 3 tape. But this one looked even more cartoony somehow than it ever had. Was it different?
No, it was the same.
Because it looks like you just stole it off of a mascot from a Penn State
It's
game.
not. It doesn't look good. I know. I don't know why they made them like that. Like, you could have easily, well, maybe not easily, but you could have gone and got some sort of pelt.
Something.
And just used a pelt.
Go kill a real puma.
That's
what I want. I want the blood still dripping.
Gross, but yes. Gross, but yes. Yeah, it's just because it's sculpted out of foam and rubber like a mascot costume. It's like what?
With kind of goofy eyeballs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, kids.
But the other super goofy one is Dragon Azteca Jr. And he did not come out in his.
No, he did.
Did he?
We'll get to it.
Shit.
We'll get to it. That one,
we'll get to my memory.
What I thought about that one when we get to it.
All right.
Right away, I don't know if you have the same feeling that I do, but it feels more and more special to watch Puma work as his career progresses. It feels like this is great that Lucha Underground still has this talent.
Yeah.
Because he's reaching into a stratosphere. This is around closer to the time when he's had that, what's become a match of the year candidate for a lot of people with Will Ospreay. And he also had a really good this probably would have been sometime
close to that,
shortly after the time when he had a match with him at the Evolve show. which also got a lot of press.
This would have been in. So Jack Evans suffered his jaw injury in late April.
Yeah.
So when was WrestleMania?
Is April 11th or April 12th?
And there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would have been this is a guy who's only getting better, and like I said, it feels more and more special to see him work.
I agree. Actually, it's funny. Man, we're so on the same page this week because when I was watching this episode, my mind did wander into those moments of being like, wow, this kid, like, if the rumors are true and this is Puma's last season, like I took a moment to sort of like soak it in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is ultimately this throwaway match, but man, what an incredible match. It's this was Sinestro's best match ever, hands down, and / Argenis, I would argue, if they are in fact the same person. But I feel the same way. When I watch Ricochet in New Japan, I feel the same way as well, because at some point he will go to WWE, and when that happens, his moveset will be altered. His ability to do all of his moves will change. They will reel him in.
Change the pacing of his matches.
He'll no longer be be the same worker. This is what happens to everybody, pretty much everybody who goes to WWE.
Yeah.
They
and
change.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. AJ Styles has run with it. He's reached he's wrestler of the year for 2016 easily right now is AJ Styles.
Could you imagine though if he was wrestling against people who are at his same level? Because most of the time he's not.
I would say somebody like John Cena is close to his level.
Sure.
So
anyways, this isn't the WWE show. Let's move on.
Sorry, guys. Really good work from, as you said, Sinestro Del Muerte / Argenis, 2 episodes in a row. Or was there one in between?
No, there was one in between.
One in between, that's right. But this is good to show that this guy's a solid hand in whatever role they place him in. I have a feeling he's going to take on another role eventually here, and we'll get to it.
Oh, sure.
So Mil Muerte shows up, gets involved. Prince Puma hits the flatliner while looking at him.
Yeah, that was great.
For the win.
And the commentators are pushing how this is a new Puma, a darker Puma, like probably a little bit overkill, honestly, with that. But they're right. So you know that this is, it's not just a change in the mask. It is a little bit more, certainly more aggressive, more
personality,
more arrogant.
Sure.
Yeah.
So good stare down followed by crazy Puma tope out of nowhere. They were just kind of staring at each other, and you thought it wasn't going to turn into anything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he just runs and dives into him.
It was like also it wasn't just like a flying like push.
Yeah.
Like King Cuerno would do.
Yeah.
But he actually shifted in midair and turned it into a crossbody.
Yeah.
Which was like
it's
perfect.
Amazing.
It's exactly what you got to do. Keep yourself safe, guys.
Nice heat for the 2 after them. This. I think we're at potential for the best match between the 2, because they've had some legendary ones back in season 1, and I think early season 2, didn't they? Remember there was a 3-way match with Muertes, Pentagon, and Puma in season 2.
That's right.
But I think we could really see the best of them here in the future, because both these are the 2
best. Yeah. 2 best in the company.
Yeah.
There was a great moment where so Muertes rushes into the ring, then gets thrown into the turnbuckle, and then sort of rolls out of the ring. And then they cut back to him standing in the audience, and he's clutching his arm in a way that makes him look like he's like shivering cold or something.
Or sensitive.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was so weird. His body language was so just like incongruous with his character.
That's
bizarre.
Funny. I hadn't really noticed that.
Yeah,
I can see that though.
Also, give props to Karina, because when she's trying to hold back Mil,
Katrina.
What did I say?
Karina, who we'll get to later.
Oh,
our friend Karina.
Katrina is basically just has to put one hand on his neck, and that seems to be enough to keep him from doing anything, which I thought was a nice touch. Very subtle, but attention to detail. Not that, that there's something more going on. It's not about her physically holding him back, but just a little reminder there almost or something.
Cool.
Anyways, I was into it.
Yeah.
But overall, any snowflakes?
It was a little too short. But both guys did what they needed to do.
Oh yeah, I was super impressed by Sinestro Del Muerte.
Yeah, and it made Puma strong. This is the first time I've seen him do that kind of on Lucha Underground, that kind of overly fancy submission hold where he kind of throws a guy up on his, which is cool. So we are going to get to see, that's what I mean, where like this guy has been developing his moveset and working with some of these big talents around the world. And so we're going to get to see more great stuff from Prince Puma, as if we hadn't seen enough already.
Yep.
Next segment. Castro is in Dario Cueto's office. Dario Cueto stares at him, slowly stands, and then embraces him.
Yep.
And he says, I like that he says this, we are going to bring the real killer to justice, which is just like direct quote from OJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought this was really cool that we then hear Melissa's voice from inside the office.
Me too.
And he's like, and so the show must go on as well, which is great stuff. And so it just walks out of this vignette into the arena. It's the first time we've seen them do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. Moving from vignette into the match seamlessly. I loved this scene so much because there was so much tension.
Yeah.
And I cannot think of a time while watching a wrestling program. Sure, at times if you're like, there's a 3 count and you're not sure if somebody's going to kick out, there's tension there. But I'm talking like in terms of vignettes or promos or anything like that. When do you ever experience like thriller level tension? You don't. You don't. This is why this program is so unique, because it can do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Also, major props to Dario for like his hug just being so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like big mandible claw around Cortez Castro's shoulder, just the way it looked, it seemed so threatening, and yet you could never in a court of law argue it was not a hug.
Yeah, that's right. And Dario's always great, and we always kind of take the piss out of Cortez Castro, but I thought he was great in this scene.
Me too.
And I thought the look on his face when he walked out of that, because they shot that at different times, was so tight, man. Like that's continuity. That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Where he's most comfortable. He's most comfortable in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
So he probably just go out there, become the character for a little bit. And also, I have to give props to the writing team for referring to Mr. Cisco as Francisco.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And for Dario theorizing that possibly Big Rick is the one who killed him.
Did he? I didn't miss that.
Oh yeah. He's like, oh, maybe we'll bring the real killer to justice. Maybe it was Big Rick. Cisco did burn his eye out with a cigar.
That's right. That's funny. But Big Rick is dead, right?
Yeah, Big Rick died in the comic book. Yeah, he got murdered by the Disciples of Death.
Yeah. All right, so that leads Cortez Castro into this next match against Pentagon Dark. We get an early reminder of the Vampiro feud, and he looks at him in a quick squash followed by an arm break.
Yep.
Excellent introduction here to what Cortez's future is going to be like. Right in the temple here, now that this dynamic exists where Dario knows what he does and things are not going to be easy for him. It's only going to get worse.
I was surprised that it was just an arm break. I honestly thought it would be Matanza and they would do some sort of kayfabe murder right there.
Shoot murder.
Yeah. Not a shoot murder.
No, I know.
Not a shoot murder.
Yeah, like I said, really good acting from Cortez Castro both in that vignette and in this little short match. And then Pentagon cuts a promo.
Yeah,
and
nice. Was of appropriate length this time.
Yeah.
Not like some of his previous promos, which seemed to last for half an hour.
Yeah, it was great, and I think Pentagon's one of the reasons why he can never win the Dario Cueto award, because he speaks in Spanish and he wears makeup.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But I thought this was awesome. You notice? I think the Spanish word for punk got beeped.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was about, because
I think it means something else in Spanish that is way more derogatory.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well,
because you heard an audible kind of ooh when he dropped it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really strange. I thought that was such, because the subtitles were like skinny.
Yeah,
like skinny
punk,
something like that.
I'm gonna guess it's homophobic. That's my guess.
Maybe reel it in, Pentagon.
Yeah, but
he's a rudo.
He's a rudo, and he's a scary dude. And you know what? He doesn't even respect his own mother. That's one of the things he said in the promo. I don't even respect my own mother. And you saw a look from people in the crowd from that one too. Like, wow.
Whoa, jeez.
Your own mother? Yeah, I thought it was an awesome promo.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, he's not in the running for the Dario Cueto Award for non-Dario Cueto performance, English language, no makeup. In fact, he's pretty much the only person who could never be.
Shall we take a break here?
I take a break here? Sure. All right, let's take a break. And here's a word from the Place to Be Nation.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Voice of Ring of Honor's Kevin Kelly here. I want to make sure you're subscribed to all of our great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. Just head to iTunes today and search and subscribe to the Place to Be podcast feed, the PWO PTBN feed, PTBN Pop, and of course the Kevin Kelly Show feed, which includes the full archives of my podcast. Some really great stuff. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. Thanks for being a fan of professional wrestling. More importantly, thanks for being a fan and supporter of the Place to Be Nation.
Place to Be Nation's JT Rozzero here. In addition to the archives of the Kevin Kelly Show, we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. And we now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be podcast feed, you can check out Scott Criscolo and me on the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, with our famous Vintage Vault pay-per-view reviews. PTBN also covers current day wrestling with clotheslines and headlines, main event, Mission Indie Possible, in our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows with immediate feedback on WWE, NXT, and Ring of Honor Super shows. Relive wrestling's past with our monthly pay-per-view rewind series led by Ben Morse, and the Dangerous Alliance Wrestling podcast as we dive into various subjects in the form of exercises and games. All of this in addition to Scott Keith's Podcast of Doom, which includes discussions on questions from listeners, as well as current day and old school wrestling. We also have sports covered too with the Sports Lounge, the TJ McClune Show, and NBA Team Podcast. On our brand new PTB Pop podcast feed, we offer great shows such as the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Rank and File, Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the hard-traveling fanboys, Sellers Points, Todd Weber's Conversation, and Imaginary Stories. Subscribe to both feeds on iTunes and be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows are available on PlayStation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus tournaments and more. Be sure to check out the right-hand side of the site for details on how to support the site when you shop at Amazon and download our free Place to Be Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, and Scott Keith's blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This is Parv, and I'm here to tell you to listen and subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Only Place to Be Nation podcast network. That's the PWO PTBN podcast network, where you'll find a ton of in-depth shows done by hardcore fans. We've got Chris Zellner's 1-2 punch of Exile on Bad Street, and with David Bixenspan, a smash hit Between the Sheets. We've got Wrestling Culture with Dylan Hales and Dave Musgrave, Goodwill Wrestling and the reaction shows with Good Old Will from Texas. We got This Week in Wrestling with my man Pete and Johnny Sorrow, Stephen Graham and Tim Livingston's Pro Wrestling Super Show, Tag Teams Back Again with Kelly and Marty Sleaze, and a ton of other great shows too. And of course there's Titans of Wrestling and Where the Big Boys Play with yours truly and some dude from down south called Chad. PWO PTBN Podcast Network.
Riz, get in here.
Nice.
You're off the case.
When I sat down to watch this episode, I accidentally put on the previous episode, and it starts. The very first thing that happens is that cop music, and I was pumped. I was like, yes, yes, the cop music. They're gonna keep using it. But no, I had just put on the wrong app.
That's funny.
So wait, I know one thing I want to bring up, and this is going to be tough to talk about because it's very visual, but in between, so after Pentagon's promo, they do sort of like a series of graphics showing you what's coming up in the later in the episode. Mm-hmm. And the first one is a graphic of, it says picture of Chavo, and then versus, and then picture of Dragon Azteca Jr. And I just want to show you, Trav, this thing, because it is so weird and off balance. I've just pulled it up on the screen here, and like you would think, if you were going to make a graphic like this, that you would basically split it down the middle. Yeah. Where you would have versus in the middle and then have the screen balance on either side. But for some reason, when they made this thing, they shifted everything over to the right. Like there's this huge space beside Chavo. Huh. And then the two figures of the wrestlers plus versus, they're all shift over. It just makes...
Do the names come up?
Do their names come up? Good question. Let's just play it for a second. No names. And then when they cut over to Pentagon Dark, he's right in the middle. And then when they cut over to Rey Mysterio Jr., he's right in the middle. It's just so weird.
That is weird.
Like, what, guys, attention to detail, please.
I would not have noticed that.
No.
But thanks, bud.
I'm just saying. Try to keep your graphic department honest.
Yeah, you're more into graphic design than I am. So these are the little things you might notice. And by into it, I mean, you do it from time to time.
Sure.
Next match, we've got the Super Friends, Trios Champs, with Sexy Star versus Worldwide Underground, which is, I would say with Taya, but she's a member of Worldwide Underground.
Yep.
This was a pretty good match. I know we talk about her all the time, but we didn't talk about her last time. Melissa surrenders herself to this performance. She does. The way she announces Sexy Star here is just she puts so much into this job.
Sure.
No one else. This is why we promote her. Like, fuck extracurricular activities. You know what I mean? I'm all about what people are doing when they perform.
I agree.
And she just does things that other ring announcers don't do.
Yeah.
And she's asked to do things that other ring announcers don't do. But little things like this, like the way the gusto and the joy in the way that she announces Sexy Star and Gift of the Gods. She knows what Sexy Star's role is in the company, and she knows how she can help to get it over.
Yes, I agree. I agree. She's a character. She's a character in the show. She's not just there to announce the matches in an arena. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it so much, but I know. I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good heat between the two teams early. I love Johnny Mundo throwing his shades right in.
That was a great moment.
Sexy Star's face, and she is fired up about that.
Yeah,
Gets up to throw him back. Again, Sexy Star has really good fire. I like that they explained what Atomicos means.
Yeah.
It wasn't just... I thought it was just something that they had just made up for this. That's when you were asking, weren't you asking if it was going to have explosions and stuff?
No.
Somebody might have been.
Oh, yeah, not me, no.
That's funny. It just means mayhem, essentially, because there's so many people.
Yeah, so many people.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, man, like I thought this was a great match. I thought they had some great stuff at the end. The teamwork between Aerostar Drago and Phoenix, of course.
Wait, I've got a legit hot take.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
Now, all of you, tighten up your buttholes!
I know we're only 4 episodes in, but my show MVP this year, Aerostar.
What? We're only 4 episodes in. What are you?
So what? I'm saying within those 4 episodes, the guy who has stood up to me and has brought it on a more consistent than anybody, Aerostar. He's really impressed me. He's really impressed me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Does that count as a hot take?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think anybody else is thinking that.
Good.
Mine is Darewolf. That's the hot take.
Yeah.
No, I'm lying.
He's impressed too. I'd have him on a short list.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know. Who would I pick? It's been so even across the board.
I mean, you could easily say Killshot or Marty from that big match, but I think over consistently from people who've been showing up more than once, he's stood out more than anybody to me.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, speaking of Darewolf, he has new gear. Did you notice that T-shirt?
Yeah.
Let me get it up. It's a cool. I'm sure it must be available for purchase, man. It is dope.
Oh yeah. It fits. It's a wolf, but in the
Lucha Underground logo style.
That's cool that they're allowing him to change their gear because from what I've seen, they're really strict about making sure that everyone wears the same gear every episode. In particular, what's his name? The dragon guy, Drago. He always wears just the one set of gear.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Are we watching this?
We're talking about Drago, right? Not Dragon Azteca Jr.? Are we talking about Dragon Azteca Jr. or are we talking about Drago?
We're talking about Drago.
Drago has had at least five different, at least 4, possibly 5 different. Yes, because now if you go back and watch season 1, he starts in blue gear. Then he wrestles one match in this cool red number, which I would love to see come back. And then after that, he started wearing the black gear, which is what we normally see him in. But Travis,
yes,
in Aztec Warfare 2, he showed up wearing white and blue gear, and there's some speculation that he did make an appearance in a white, blue, and purple number that was quite iridescent.
That sounds
sort of
nice.
like the inside of a muscle.
Oh, it sounds really pretty.
It was good.
That's a good comparison.
Thank you.
Okay.
So he has had several gears. Now, some people will say that this dumb thing he wore in the back of his head last time was also another gear, but that's completely wrong. Completely wrong.
I saw that he had it this week, and now I'm starting to think that maybe he has had it the whole time.
Yes, he has.
I think I noticed it last week because it fell off and theoretically destroyed his central nervous system.
God.
Okay. So he's had a couple.
Yes.
Okay. I thought Sexy Star and Taya had to start really nice start, nice back and forth, but Sexy Star benefits from edits. Really noticed it in this match. There's a part where she gets thrown over to a rope and it looks like she's about to do something cool to get out to the top of the rope, like some sort of maneuver to get up to the top of the rope. And it cuts to Taya at that point where it looks like Sexy Star's about to try something cool and it cuts to Taya. So that makes me think maybe the thing she was about to try didn't work out as well. Because if it's cool, why would you cut away from it?
That's true.
Yeah, and people, I think, like I said, it's her energy is what gets her over. Enter Jack Evans. I was wondering if this guy was going to be able to wrestle.
Yeah.
And he did. It looked like he was guarded. He started doing his flips and tagged out again. So I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it's more of this.
But at the same time, if you didn't know he was injured, I think he would have. It all made sense in the story of the match. Like, he participated, he took a few hits, he threw a few punches, he did all his flippy stuff, but obviously he was not as engaged as normally. He did do the flying 2-finger to the butt to Sexy Star.
What did you think about that?
Hey, I don't know. I was
it seemed like the crowd was kind of cold for this match, and you like that. If that happened, how do you not be like, oh my god? How did not be like? It seemed like no one reacted to it.
Well, because it's just not a painful maneuver.
Well, you know what I mean? Stryker tried to put it over.
I know.
There's lots of nerve endings and stuff down there.
That's dumb. I know. I think it's time to. I don't know, man. I've a mixed mind. I'm like, at this point, either. It's like a joke that you tell like 100 times. It's like our Drago bit. Okay,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, it's like a joke. If the whole premise of the joke is that we're gonna make something go on forever, at some point it becomes not funny before it gets funny again. And I feel like
the thing is, this is the first time he's done it to a woman. That's what's particularly that's borderline sexual assault.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I don't know.
I don't know what to think of it either. I was just shocked when he hit it. I'm like, he's not going to do the anus poke on Sexy Star, but he did. Yeah.
In some ways, okay, if it's a legitimate move that you use to win the match, do it. I mean, Pentagon Jr. totally football kicked Taya in the crotch.
Yeah,
a while ago, and I didn't have any problems with that. This just because it's so obviously not a.
There's something really visceral about it.
Yeah,
you can feel it. Owie!
Yeah, it's bad.
Yes.
Anyways, we'll see if he keeps doing it. At this point, if you did it to Sexy Star, you have to do it in every match you're in.
Yeah, it's true. I want to see him hit it on Dario at some point.
Oh my god, that would be great. That would be so good.
Great work from PJ Black and Drago, and Aerostar's tagged in and still doing the new and exciting stuff. He tags Phoenix, and Johnny Mundo stops the momentum. At this point, it really clued into me how excited I am to see Phoenix live. Yeah,
he kind of fades into the background a little bit in these trios matches.
I think. But he's comfortable doing that. This is a guy who knows when he's supposed to shine and supposed to just be one of the boys.
I would, to be honest, I'm kind of Mundo and Drago and Aerostar and Phoenix. All of them, I'm ready to see in a high stakes singles match. It's been a while. It's been a while, especially for Drago and Aerostar.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
We'll see. Well, we'll see how long they keep these straps on them. Really fun double team with Sexy Star and Johnny Mundo. I can't really remember what it was. But then she gets stuck in the corner, and Jack Evans starts wrestling and does all right. That's when he hits the anal poke of doom. But I noticed when he'd do something off of a top rope, he would kind of roll with it in a different way. Than he would. Maybe I'm overanalyzing because we're watching to see how these things affect him. I was wondering, this is where I took the note, why was the crowd so quiet for this match?
It did seem weird. It did seem weird.
We saw good work from Taya after we had kind of seen an off week from her before. Then we saw Drago and everyone do just an awesome, like, kind of triple or quadruple team sequence.
Yeah. You know what? I bet you this was shot in the same day as their match last week. And Possibly. That is why the crowd is like,
maybe
a little fatigued, right? Because we just saw all these guys wrestle. And now here they are, all are wrestling again.
Sexy Star tags an Aerostar, takes a wild bump to the outside. Phoenix stopped Johnny Mundo from doing a dive and then hits his corkscrew.
Yeah.
So got into a bit of a spot fest. But this took a weird turn at the end here when Taya hurt her foot.
Yes.
It looked like a legit injury. It looked like she was crying at the end.
Yeah, but that's just happening.
No. Especially with the way they were. I don't know. But anyways,
well, they did a good job. If we're not sure if it was real or not.
Yeah. So Johnny Mundo hit Sexy Star with a kick, and then it led to the bridge pin from Jack Evans. So it was a good match. I gave it 3 stars.
Nice.
I thought Taya seemed legit hurt. I really did at the end there.
Well, I guess we will see.
I hope
in
not.
The coming weeks.
I hope not, because we know they need girls who can wrestle there.
No kidding, man. Yeah, I thought. This was better than their last match for sure. I agree with you. I thought it was weird that the crowd wasn't into it. Yeah, overall though, actually I was surprised that Sexy Star lost clean.
Right? Relatively so. There's still other people getting involved.
I suppose.
It's essentially a double team. No, it's good. Builds up drama. She can't just look invincible every time she's in there. Otherwise, we're not going to think that she's ever going to lose the gift of the God strap.
I guess that's true.
Next sequence, Sinestro Del Muerte is kneeling before Mil Muertes.
Oh, yeah.
And his neck is snapped by Katrina. And then she gives him the kiss of death, which would creep me out a bit. I kind of wish she would have given him the kiss of death before he was dead. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a little.
But she was like sucking his life essence out.
She can do that afterwards, anyways, and then blows it just kind of in a mist to Mil Muertes, who inhales it, and I guess that makes him more strong. Right?
Or just like high, super high.
I'm on Sinestro, bruh.
Yeah.
And so she kills him and says, "Do the same thing to Prince Puma."
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the last disciple of death. And so here's what I think. Remember in the trailer when we see those kind of, I guess I'm assuming it's Sami Callihan's crew.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Sami Callihan, that Ricky guy, and Argenis / Sinestro Del Muerte. Because it looked like there was 3 of them. There was kind of like this kind of checkered guys in checkers. I think he's going to be one of them now.
Okay, I thought Paul London was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Maybe. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he'll be one of the Black Lotus Triad.
Oh, yeah.
Because they look to be in full mask.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us all about that?
Well, we'll get to that. It's at the end here.
Are we not at the end?
No, we got our final match.
Oh, my God. I have no notes about it.
Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero, with Rey Mysterio Jr. as the guest referee. So here's where you see Dragon Azteca's headgear, which is looks even more green and cartoony. It looks like, maybe you remember the name of these.
Okay.
Those 90s kind of shark muscle toys that were like puppets.
Street sharks.
Street sharks. It looked like his helmet was a street shark.
Well, it's always looked that way.
This looked even more so. For some reason, this looked even more. Doesn't that look like one of those street sharks? You know what I'm talking about?
It doesn't look good.
No. I always thought it looked Carnival. Yeah, it doesn't work.
You can do it, but just do it like... Okay, here's another alternative. Instead of actually going out and skinning a dragon or whatever, just get some wood carving masks.
Yeah, I love it.
Throw those on.
Yeah, make them look more legit Aztec-y.
Yeah.
Aztec-y. God. Notice Chavo's poncho, it said ULR in the middle. Any ideas?
ULR? No.
Yeah, me neither. Something
he's pushing.
Latino. I don't know. Matt Stryker brings up that he's been living in Eddie's shadow his whole life. And this is when I thought that him and I made a note, because we piss on them all the time, that I thought they were really good tonight. Matt Stryker and Vampiro. Good old school, feeling out, grappling to start. I noticed that crane camera a lot in shots in this match that I'd never really noticed before. Maybe it just was in weird spaces. And we've talked about this. It's tough to get into Chavo's matches, even though he's kind of a dependable hand.
I'm a big...
Really?
Yeah, I'm into it.
I just find him really beige.
No, man.
Yeah.
No. I mean, he is beige.
Obsessed with race. A comparison I made him to, because I'm watching some of that old Stampede footage, is Keith Hart. We're seeing Keith Hart wrestle, and there's something you can't put your finger on it because Brett's still really green, but he's got that execution that would set him apart, and even like Bruce Hart, who wouldn't go on to bigger things. And Keith Hart just kind of takes like a blue collar approach to wrestling. And I think that's kind of what Chavo has, because there's nothing particularly flashy about him.
No, it's true. It's true. But I don't think he's pretty snug. He doesn't make mistakes.
No,
he's clean. He's crisp.
He's a good worker, but there's nothing.
He's got the right psychology down. I think they tell good stories.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to win when he's in the match, even though it might take him some time to get me on board with a possibility of him winning.
Yeah, I remember that cage match really stood out too.
Totally.
From last season. So I think to Chavo, to you is what Tejano is to me, or like vice versa. Like you see Tejano a little more.
Totally.
You kind of clock out or tune out when he's in a match.
Exactly.
But I kind of get that a bit with Chavo. Dragon Azteca Jr. showing some nice arm drag type stuff coming off of the ropes. A nice roll by Chavo into a half crab. Some good heat between Ray and Chavo. Chavo hits Ray and he responds. Dragon Azteca hits his finisher for the win. It was a good match. It got done what was needed. Just suffered. Like I said, I think Chavo is beige to me.
Also, the Rey Mysterio pulls a 619 on Chavo at the very end for emphasis, and I thought it was the crispest, most devastating 619 I have seen him pull off.
Speaking of which, did you see again, we're on WWE, Cesaro hit a 619.
Yeah.
That is so cool, man.
That's true. It's true.
That is so cool.
Ricochet's been doing it in New Japan.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Good, because these two need a rematch, right? And if he starts working that more into his repertoire, then that just adds another reason for
them to like wrestle at like a different promotion somewhere. Or something. Yeah, I can see
that. So that leads us to our match thoughts on this last one. Like obviously not if you didn't take much in the way.
No, I didn't. To be honest, overall, this whole episode felt a little bit like a down period for me. Just like not a whole lot happened. Mostly
things happen. They're developing feuds. It's just nothing groundbreaking.
I mean, you didn't need to develop. Okay, so what stood out for me? It was interesting to see Dario's first play against Cortez Castro. That was cool, and actually, I really liked the way they did that because suddenly it's like a squash match that has like meaning, and here's a reason why these two people are actually wrestling.
I think that might have been the highlight of the show.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, but the Big Atomicos match, even though it was great. It was entertaining. It didn't really forward that feud in any way, right?
It's true.
And
this is why I was saying. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just the Chavo and Dragon Azteca Jr. thing to me felt shoehorned in from the get go. It didn't really seem to have any purpose other than to have Chavo make an appearance in this season. So the whole thing to me just was like, wait, this episode is, I don't know. I guess Sinestro de la Muerte died.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't discount that.
Yeah, no, things of note happened.
Yeah. Well, actually, the very last scene was probably the most important thing for me.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I remember I talked about last week, like, why are we going straight to another Worldwide Underground against Super Friends again when you have all this other talent and there's other storylines to get across here that you could be...
Still no Ivelisse wrestling.
Yeah.
No Ivelisse. Mariposa hasn't wrestled.
King Cuerno.
King Cuerno is dead.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, that's what Katrina said in her promo or in her vignette when she killed Sinestro. Yes, King Cuerno is gone. Never to return. Maybe he'll come. Maybe the performer will come back in a different guise.
I hope so.
But
it's a beautiful tope. Among other things, Daga and Cobra Moon.
What is going on with Cobra Moon? Bengala.
I was just going to say that was our number one question. Sure. All of the Lucha Underground fans are wondering that. I just think, you're right about that Worldwide Underground and Super Friends match. Just wasn't. It was a good enough match. It just didn't. There was no need for it. It's like a holding pattern of sorts. It's
exactly.
Like an episode of Raw where things happen. Like, that's a problem with Raw is all I ask, and that's why SmackDown has been working. God, we're talking too much about WWE. But you just want things of consequence to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem with Raw is like this. Why should I be watching this right now? This is nothing. Whatever happens here doesn't matter.
Totally.
So that leads us to our last sequence. I thought this was a kind of a good little bait and switch they did here, because every time we've seen candles, we automatically kind of Pavlovian response to think Katrina.
Yeah, so true.
And it's revealed that it's Black Lotus. And she basically said, she's out to get Pentagon Dark as well, and she's got her she's got like 3 ninja looking guys behind her, all in black. So it's like she's moved on from Dragon Azteca to go after Pentagon Dark now. Should be interesting to see who these 3 guys are.
The Disciples of Death?
Maybe.
Rebranded?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That could be somebody. But it's good. It's good that she's going to have some muscle with her, because as we know that
they did have Okada from New Japan was backstage.
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah.
I'm so hoping, like, we would have heard if he's in there. If
we're actively avoiding spoilers.
Yeah, but I think that would have come out. We knew that Sami Callihan is on this season. We already know that. Cast members.
Yeah, but if you're a dude in Japan, like, maybe Japanese media knows something about it, but
what I would like is for him to be like the final tease in like at the end season 4.
Oh my god!
See him in a limousine kind of thing.
Oh shit, that'd be cool.
Maybe we need to take over this temple.
Oh god,
I know. Goosebumps, right?
Amazing.
I know. He's. Oh, by the way, have you seen any clips from the Black Tiger cartoon?
No, I haven't seen any clips yet.
So cool, man.
Sweet. The debuts on tomorrow.
Yeah,
debuts tomorrow. All right.
So let's get in. There's some. That's it. As we said, kind of a so-so episode.
Yeah. Did you give any stars to that final match?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
So, as you saw, I posted my advertisement for KY Duration is up. That's what I'm doing, Adam.
Oh yeah, congratulations. So Travis was in a commercial for KY Jelly.
KY Duration. It's different. It's a spray.
Oh dear God,
it's really funny.
Chill.
I'm quite proud of it.
We can't be giving people free advertisements like this.
That's what I'm thinking. Somewhere down the line, we're going to start. They're going to become a legit sponsor.
Oh,
of
hey,
Lucha Underground.
That'd be all right.
And then we'll be cutting like our own commercials for it and stuff. I think we could do a good job. Our old friend Kevin Banner.
Yes.
Was in Toronto on Friday for Canada's Best Comic. He made it there. This was like based on voting. He earned it. He deserved to be there.
Yep.
He didn't win, but we're super proud of him. That's great. And also his comedy album.
Are we allowed to say that?
Is coming out.
No, okay.
He's not.
I thought the last message he sent us was just like, "Don't tell anybody."
No, he's been
okay.
Like I mentioned it a while back on Titans as well. Dreamboat will be available on iTunes shortly. Dreamboat is wrestling based because Kevin's a big fan. He's a big fan of Dusty, among other things. But here's what we're really excited about tonight. Max and I are going to see our friend of the show. She was on an episode last year. Karina is making her in-ring debut at Elite Canadian Championship Wrestling tonight here in Vancouver. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm going to cry. I really do. Just because I don't want to like make it seem like this is my baby, but I brought Karina to her first ECCW show.
Okay.
Got her into wrestling. She started training with them, and I've been at least had some small part. I've been instrumental in helping her to develop her character, which is Ray Palomino, which I think sounds great. The super positive kind of energy kind of thing. So really excited to see that tonight. We've got a big cheering section for her. I will. We'll try to post some pictures of that tonight and who we see. Excited to see two of the best workers in the company in the main event between El Phantasmo and Scotty Mac.
God, how long do you think this event is going to be?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll be good. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time. We always do at ECCW, especially at the shows that are at the RCC, which is the Russian Community Center.
Also want to give props to our number one fan, Robert Charlton.
Yeah.
Last week we started by musing about how there are no underwater-themed wrestlers, and Robert chimed back instantaneously with Shark Boy.
From TNA.
Didn't even know he existed.
I looked him up on Twitter. He's still got quite a few followers. He's still working on the indie scene.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I don't know. He seems like an all right guy. Shark Boy.
From what we know of him.
Anyway, so big props. Thanks a lot to Robert for that and for listening always. We are your number one fan.
That's right. Max is going to be away the next 2 episodes. He's off to Japan.
That's right.
Are you able to check any shows out when you're there?
On October 16th, I'm going to be in Osaka, and there is a promotion there called Osaka Pro, and they're doing a show. This is the poster. If you just, Travis, if you could just blindly, how would you describe what's going on in this?
Insanity. It's like a kid's birth, a 5-year birthday party, somebody turning 5 years old, mixed with a nightmare. Is that a good way to put it?
Sure. I mean, it's mostly masked wrestlers, so it's going to be like Lucha Libre based, I would think.
There's one guy who looks like an inspector.
That's
really
right.
Weird. There's somebody who looks like Colonel Sanders from KFC. Some insane looking clowns, a bear, and a couple of regular kind of lucha looking wrestlers as well.
I'll tweet this out for anybody who wants to see what it looks like. So I'm gonna hit up that on the 16th, but that's about it.
We have some really exciting co-hosts lined up. One in particular. I'm really excited to talk with who's been watching Lucha Underground since the start, and is kind of a recognized pundit. Well, in terms of how recognized those guys get.
Who is it?
We'll see. You'll find out. You'll find out in a couple episodes here. But that's it.
All right. We'll be here next week.
The question is, will you join us?